Well, hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. We are the Mighty Guru Yogurt. Oh yes we are. It's incontrovertible. Yes. Anyway then, bit of an update. First of all, we hope you enjoyed the sequence of films published quite recently that depicted our amusing, interesting, challenging and fulfilling ride out to Malham Cove and then across the Forest of Bowland and an impromptu overnight stay in Morecambe. It was all very, very, very elucidating. Anyway, the motorcycle would appear, I'm cautious of saying is, but it would appear to be fixed. We spent a lot of time working on the electrics. Hopefully we've now solved the problem, but it's only about a week ago when I was saying that last, and it all went horribly wrong again. But there we go. We'll see what happens today. I have a bit of a strategy today, which is this. I know that in about an hour and a half's time the Murgatroyd will be driving along this road here, the A595, and then heading south down towards Barrow. So I'm not going too far from that route, just in case. If I might be needing to have a rescue, I would sooner that I was closer to the Murgatroyd than further away. Anyway, a few more things I'm going to point out, but before I do that, we're going to get moving. Stop recording. Well, it's early yet. I've had about 3 stops and starts since I left home. We'll see how we go. I could really do without having another bloody rescue today. I mean, we're getting quite good at them, but that's not really a good thing, is it? No, it is not. Another good reason for not going too far off the route that the Murgatroyd will be following in an hour or so is that there is some fairly substantial rainfall predicted within the next couple of hours. As you can probably see, I don't have the textiles on today, and I really don't want to be sitting by the side of the road getting wet for hours on end. I am, however, quietly confident that we have now sorted out the problem, because during the course of our explorations of the wiring loom over the last few days, it became quite apparent that the problem was residing in the headlamp. We were right about that last week, and there was a bad earth there, which would cause things to short, and it would cause fuses to blow. Now then, a couple of different things about the motorcycle today to point out. One, I've replaced the handlebar mount. I gave the previous one to my oldest son, the Benji Mouse, in an attempt to encourage him to be getting out on his motorcycle and doing some filming, which he has done. I'm hoping he's out today on his motorcycle doing some filming, but we'll see. And so we're back to having some B-roll, which is always nice. And I have also got brand new front indicators fitted, and that has allowed us to establish a really good earth in the headlamp unit. So I am hoping that we're all sorted now. As they say, watch this space. Well now, I've had the whole day off today. Spent several hours this morning editing. I've got quite a backlog of footage from the, some might say ill-fated trip to the Bowland Forest. But I tell you this, I'm definitely going back there. Given that parts of the Bowland Forest are only an hour's ride away from where we live, it's certainly a place I'm going to be spending a lot more time. Regular viewers won't need to be told that this is Dudden Bridge on the A595. Features in quite a few of my films. And it's nice to see the water levels getting back to something approaching normal. We have had quite a lot of rainfall over the last week. It's begun to feel a little bit like Cumbria again. I'm not saying I didn't enjoy the heat wave, I absolutely did. I always enjoy a heat wave. And whilst it's actually quite warm today, I mean the Met Office is predicting 20-21 degrees here. There really is an imminent risk of a downpour. You can feel it in the air. I had a very amusing day yesterday riding to and from work. 6 o'clock in the morning yesterday found me riding up the hill here on the Murgatroyd's BN125. Always a nice time riding that motorcycle. And I also had a fabulous ride home. Got wet on the way in, did not get wet on the way out. But goodness me, I had an exhausting day at work yesterday. About 12 and a half hours of really hard graft. And so I really am making the most of a relaxing day off today. Back to work in the morning, and if nothing goes amiss with the magnificent beast here, then he and I will be riding out to Hawkshead at some point tomorrow. I still don't know what time I'm starting. I don't know whether I'm going in for breakfast shift in the morning, whether I'm going in the afternoon, or whether I'm there all day. I just don't know. Now then, here's the thing. Yes, the Murgatroyd and I were quite recently speaking of our planned trip to Barcelona in about 5 weeks' time. You might remember we have the aeroplane tickets booked, and we have now settled on the idea of quite simply just going for a short break. And so on Monday, the, I don't know, something of July, I think it might be the 17th, we fly from Manchester Airport out to Barcelona. The Murgatroyd has booked us accommodation. We are going to be staying for 3 nights in a yurt, not to be confused with a yogurt, which is a very different thing entirely, and not something you would want to be spending 3 nights in. No, really, don't go sleeping in yogurts, no matter how tempting it may appear to be. So we'll be in a yurt, which is, for those who don't know, oh no, fuck that, everybody knows what a yurt is, and if you don't, Google it. So we'll be there for 3 nights. Now, we've agreed that on the first entire day that we are there, I'm having the day to myself. And so what I'm going to do is I am going to rent a motorcycle, because I like a motorcycle. And I've discovered that there are several rental companies based in Barcelona, and this will afford me a very extensive choice of motorcycles. And so what I'm going to do when I get home this evening is I'm going to look very closely at all 3 companies offering the rental of a motorcycle. I am going to draw up, yes, I will draw up, what is wrong with people? a list of motorcycles that I would consider renting. They may be surprising, we will see. And what I'm then going to do is I am then going to ask my audience to decide which motorcycle I am going to rent. Yes. And whichever one gets more votes, that's the one I'm going to rent. So all kinds of things are available, from small capacity motorcycles to, I think there was a Ducati Multistrada available. I might actually be quite interested in riding one of those, but we will see. Because I am a thoroughgoing Democrat, even though I don't live in a democracy, I'm going to let the audience decide what I'm going to ride for one whole day, and it will be a long day's riding in Barcelona. So the plan will be to pick up the motorcycle at 9 o'clock in the morning, bring it back at 7 o'clock at night, giving me about 10-12 hours exploring the areas around Barcelona. Now, I actually spent some time just north of Barcelona some 30 years ago when I was having a little attempt at backpacking across Europe. That's a whole other story. And I know that there are some fabulous places to go and visit to the north of Barcelona, including, of course, the Picos de Europa. So we'll certainly be heading up that way. But what will we be heading up that way on? Well, that is going to be up to you. What I will do is I will make an entirely separate video about that in the next week or so. I will broadcast the shortlist, so to speak, and then you can decide. Now, when the Murgatroyd comes out in a bit, she'll be turning right there down toward Barrow. And so that is the line that I need to stay fairly close to. So I'm thinking that I'll go up the hill here, I'll have a look at the map, and I know that there are a lot of little lanes around the back of Ulverston that I've never been on, and so I'll probably head down that way. Okay then, I've had a glance at the map. I'm going to be heading over that way, down toward Ulverston, but probably avoiding Ulverston because I've no reason to be going there. And I'm basically going to work my way back toward the road that heads down into Barrow. If I get that far without anything going wrong with the bike, I will then start heading home, knowing that the Murgatroyd is en route and will be conveniently available should I need a rescue. It's so exciting. Of course, absolutely nothing is going to go wrong because the problem is fixed. We'll see how that one goes. There is, of course, always an enormous disparity between what we think and actual reality. Maybe not always, but often. It's perfectly possible that the problem isn't fixed and that everything's going to go horribly wrong again, except it never does. It never goes horribly wrong. It just goes, unfortunately and inconveniently, wrong. We are in the happy situation of being able to have at least a local rescue quite conveniently and not have to wait around for 13 and a half days for the AA to turn up. Honestly, I am so disappointed in those people. But there we are, that's what it is. And that's what we got. This road then leads eventually into Ulverston, and I know there are at least 2 or 3 little country lanes that go off to the right further down the road here, and those are the roads I'm going to go off and explore. I haven't set the sat-nav, but I've got a rough idea of where the particular lanes that I want to follow go to. It's going to be difficult to get completely lost around here. On which subject, regular viewers will remember that when the Murgatroyd and I were out riding on, when was it even? Wednesday of last week, that we were having massive problems with the sat-nav. And the more perspicacious of my viewers, Google it, Slowbo, will know that there is another addition to the bike. The phone holder has made a return. Now, when we finally worked out why the sat-nav was no longer talking to my helmet here, it seemed stark staringly obvious. So I'm going to have a right here. This is one of the lanes I want to go and explore, because I've never had a problem connecting the sat-nav to the helmet whilst I'm wearing my leather jacket. But the only thing that was different was that I was wearing a textile jacket, and so logic demands that the textile jacket had to be the problem. Now, I've yet to do full scientific method on that, but I will be doing that quite soon. But what I do know is that when I connected the sat-nav to the helmet today, it just works instantly, and it has worked ever since, until the point where I turned it off. So it has to have been the textile jacket that was causing the problem. Well, this is quite lovely, isn't it? I've not been down here before. Or if I have, it wasn't on a motorcycle. Oh, baby cows. What do you call those? Calves, that's it, calves. Ooh, very bumpy. Oh, this is delightful. I wonder where it turns up. It just keeps going. Oh, this is fantastic. Another little story to do with last week's series of films. When the magnificent beast here packs up, we were just outside of Cornforth, and fortuitously enough, the motorcycle cut out about 100 yards down the road from a fellow motorcyclist, and he happened to be outside of his front door at the time that I was pushing the motorcycle to a safe place where we could leave it, and then the plan from there was to head home, two up on the Murgatroyd's BM125. If you've seen the sequence of films, you'll know that we decided against that one. The Murgatroyd was literally hanging off the back seat. That motorcycle is not designed for carrying two people, unless of course they're very small people. Neither the Murgatroyd nor I are falling into those kinds of categories. Anyway, he said, "What's happened?" So I explained what had happened, and he very kindly brought out an Allen key. I was able to get the battery cover off. We tried a couple of fuses, they were just blowing instantly. And so he very kindly let me leave the motorcycle outside his house. And when we got back about 4 hours later with the van to pick up the motorcycle, one of his colleagues was there, and we had a good old chat with him. And he was upbraiding me, admonishing me. I was suitably upbraided and admonished for not going to the TT races. Well, you know, I tried to explain to him that it just wasn't my thing at all. And so he gave up on that one. Once I just explained that I've never been a racer, he said, but you should still go to the Isle of Man, because it's a wonderful place and they're very welcoming of motorcyclists. I have no idea which way I'm going now. Kirkby is that way. Oh, that's Kirby, by the way. It's a silent K. I'm going to go this way because I haven't. And look, you can see it going all up over the hills there. And some beautiful wind farm stuff as well. I really don't understand why anybody has a problem with wind farms. So yeah, I doubt that the guy concerned will ever see this film, but if you are watching it by any chance, you know who you are. Thank you ever so much. We really did appreciate your help. He also allowed us to store the quite full saddlebags in his house while I rode the BN125 back home to pick up the van so we could have a rescue. Oh, there's a bit of a reservoir going on there. Oh, I've never seen that before. I'm going to stop and show you, otherwise it's just me talking about something. Oh, there we are then. It's a reservoir. And you can see the sea out there as well. That'll be Morecambe and stuff over there, I imagine. Can't really say for sure. Not without looking at the map, and I'm not going to. So yeah, reservoir. This is fantastic. There's a little bench here as well if you fancy a sit down. Oh, there's another reservoir over there, look. I'm not stopping for that one. My audience will just get reservoired out. They'll be like, oh, not him again, not the Mighty Guru Yogurt with his reservoirs all over the place. God damn that Mighty Guru Yogurt, we've got reservoir fatigue by now.